He built his life as well as his most famous character himself. He conquered the world with his style, appearance, clothes and movements, which stay unmistakably recognizable for more than a century after people had seen this for the first time. The persona's image is legally protected from unfair mimicking to deceive the public. We commonly know him by his character, and so did his contemporaries. At a Look-alike Him contest, he took the third place. At his 27, he became richer than the President of the United States, Woodrow Wilson at those times, while Winston Churchill visited him during one of the shootings in Los Angeles and proposed a toast to him after the premiere in London. Hardly would that once pauper kid dream about it. Or would he? His journey started in the capital of Victorian England, where he was born to a young couple of music hall entertainers. For the mother, the boy was the second son already. The elder appeared 4 years earlier, while for the father, the newborn was the first child. But the man prioritized his stage life and tours around England and even the United States, so actually none of the boys were seeing him much. Miss Hannah, their mother, was 23 at the moment, and despite having been performing since her 16, by this time her popularity decreased. She wrote a couple of songs for her sister, became involved with another music hall performer, and tried to earn money by dressmaking at home. She was still sometimes invited to perform as a singer, but her health was worsening, and the further, the more frequently she experienced severe headaches and loss of voice. All this, of course, was happening in the eyes of the children. Growing up among actors and performers, they both knew a lot about stage life, probably even more than about anything else in the world. It's now Hampshire, Aldershot. Aged 5, the young boy is together with his mom, waiting for her to sing on the stage and come back to him. But the evening became one of the instances when her voice was lost again. And it was the kid who saved the situation. The boy sang in place of his mother. For him it was his first amateur appearance on stage, while for the young lady it practically meant the end of her singing career. She tried to keep a good mood for the children and to entertain them with her earlier stage performances, songs or pantomime stories, while financially the situation was on the way of becoming unbearable. In a year, her health condition became poor enough for her to end up in an infirmary and spend there a month with further admission required. There was nobody else in the family to take care about the children. The father started drinking, the grandmother, suffering from the same issue, developed symptoms of madness. So the boys of 10 and 6 years old had to leave home. Two little paupers, they were sent to a workhouse first, and shortly after that moved to a special school for poor, destitute children. They had changed a couple of these schools before sent to live with the biological father of the younger boy. The solution did not really work, as the father had become severely alcoholic by that time. The elder brother joined the Navy for this period, while for the younger boy it became a turning point in a way. During their early years with the mother, she managed to convince the child that he had some sort of talent in acting, the process he already enjoyed. Now an early teenager, he was still fond of performing, so his father made him a member of the same troupe he used to have tours with. The troupe was mainly dedicated to clog dancing, which the early teenager did not really like, but that was something providing him with money and making him an individual stage actor rather than as somebody's child passing by. Before he's 13, his mother, who had periods of remissions, tried to ensure the son attending a regular school in spite of him beginning to have tours with the dancing troupe. The son prioritized the stage, though. His ingenious acting and dancing began to bring him popularity among the audiences, so at the age of 14 he joined a theatrical agency for their new performance. The show was ongoing for a couple of weeks only, but the boy was already noticed and praised by reviews. His former director, playwright and an actor Harry Arthur Sainsbury agreed with another theatre manager, Charles Frohman, on a role for the teenager in a Sherlock Holmes performance. There he was playing together with William Gillette, the first Sherlock Holmes on a theatre stage, who also co-authored the first play about Holmes with Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. The young actor was taking part in the play until he was 17 and recalled the experience as tidings from heaven. All the time he was cherishing a dream about being part of a comedy, play, show or another type of performance which would bring smiles to life. He found a way to join the Casey's Circus. A 17-year-old young man, he is touring England with his burlesque pieces together with a troupe and becomes a star of the whole show. After a year-long tour, people were recognizing him as a comedic performer, so tasting quick popularity, he decided to leave the circus and start an individual career in London. The trial, however, was not successful. By this time, his elder brother had also stepped into the field of acting and became one of the leading performers in an English comedy company by Fred Karno. The performer convinced Karno to accept his younger brother for a few weeks as a trial. The company owner became highly skeptical about Charles's capabilities after their personal meeting. Nevertheless, the not very tall young man, who in real life looked pale, puny, sullen and too shy to be anything good in a theater, actually made the show already at his first night in the freshly built London Coliseum Theatre, and finally signed a contract. In autumn of the year 1910, Charles, who was 21 at the moment, was selected as a vaudeville show star to make a tour to Seattle. He spent almost 2 years playing a drunk considerably older than the comedian himself was, while the audiences as well as the reviewers were accepting him extremely well. The youngster loved that life filled with people, music, acting and parties so much that during a break between tours he felt almost depressed in London. During the second tour to America, the 24-year-old young man was invited to join Keystone Studios in Los Angeles, supported by the New York Motion Picture Company. The initial plan was that he would substitute one of the living actors, but after a personal meeting, the immediate director, Max Sennett, viewed him as too young. The contract for $150 per week was already signed, so Charles stayed as part of the company, though did not have any roles during a couple of months. He used the time to learn the process of filmmaking, which was an absolutely new area for him as a performer. He didn't like his first film at all, even though one of the reviews mentioned him as a comedian of the first water. However, that's probably where Charles's most famous character roots from. For his second film, he was consciously creating a contradictory appearance for himself: baggy pants, a tight coat, a small hat and large shoes. It was not a previously scripted character, but the one that the actor felt authentic at the moment, and the one still associated with his name, probably even more than his real face and appearance. The Tramp, which appeared on screens in the beginning of February in 1914, immediately promised the man ranking about the best screen performers. The world where he lived was black and white and literally speechless. Even after first sound films with spoken dialogues had been released, Charles Chaplin and his little fellow, as he called the Tramp, were keeping silence. They didn't need words or vivid colors to cause at least a smile from a spectator. The Tramp survived 2 world wars and was officially retired 12 years after his first appearance on screen. Though more than 20 years later, Chaplin would still be regretting about having let the Tramp go. The tramp brought Charles Chaplin true recognition and people's love. The Great Dictator brought him commercial success. His inner humbleness and humanity, apart from his talent, made him a phenomenon.